I think to be a good creator, you have to have your niche. Like for me, it was glam. And you have to create interesting things consistently that people want to see. They want to watch, they want to follow, they know what to expect from you, they're excited, and it's hard. It's a full-time job.
Explore the minds and marketing strategies behind today's winning brands and businesses. Tap into the power of the creator economy with Earned by CreatorIQ. Here's Conor Begley.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Earned. I've got Lilly Ghalichi on the show today. Welcome, Lilly.
Good morning.
And I am so excited to have you on. I think you have been one of the brands that really pioneered the space that we're in. And I know just an iconic person.
That is so kind. Thank you. And I'm super excited to be here. I always love talking to interesting people like yourself because you have a lot about you too, because it always becomes a really interesting conversation.
I think one of the things that I want to start with is, you've now come up on a decade since founding Lilly Lashes.
A long time.
Yeah. Although I've got you. We're about 12 years out. So I got you by a couple of years. But yeah, long time. And I know you kind of started the brand a bit by accident, right? You were just making something for yourself and then realized, oh, wait, there's a market here. I'm curious, as you reflect on the last kind of 10 years, what have you learned? Like, what was surprising to you? I can't imagine you thought this would be something you'd be doing for the next decade when you first started. But just as you reflect on that, what has that experience been like?
That's such a great question. And no, I never thought, I'm a lawyer by trade. And so I always imagined myself in the courtroom. I never in a million years imagined I would get to do something so awesome as create lashes or other brands. But I've learned so much. Lilly Lashes is one of my very successful brands, but I've had a lot of things that weren't successful that people don't remember, people don't talk about. And that's always what I encourage young entrepreneurs. Go for it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. No one remembers that I had a non-alcoholic champagne line called Glampagne. Nobody remembers that. What you'll be remembered for is what succeeds, and all you need is one. But I'm going off on a tangent. So to answer your question, I've learned a lot of valuable things. So I'm going to break it down. What is successful in a social media business? I can tell you what I've learned, and I learned that from Lilly Lashes. Lilly Lashes was my first social business that took off. And I now know the 3 reasons why. I should really charge you and all your listeners for this, because what I'm going to tell you are the 3 secrets to any social media business's success. Number 1, you need a product that is one size fits all. So the great thing about lashes is it doesn't matter if your jeans don't fit. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. It doesn't matter anything about you, whether you're a boy, you're a girl. Lashes are one size fits all. I could wear the same pair of lashes that you could wear, that somebody listening in China right now could wear. And that is a huge key to success in social media. Color cosmetics fit the same category. Number 2, easy to ship. So social media is worldwide. Your customers are worldwide. I learned very quickly with Glampagne that you cannot ship bottles of champagne. It is very difficult. If you want a social media successful business, your product needs to be easy to ship because your customers are all over the world. They don't want to pay a lot for shipping. And now the third one, you may cringe, but it's what's worked for me. It needs to be like $30 or less. The thing about social media is if they're going to be influenced by an influencer to buy your product, which that's the key to all my brands is influencer marketing, they're not going to be influenced to buy like $1,000 product. But this girl I follow and, I admire, okay, she wants me to spend $30 to get her look. I can do that. And the $30 also transcends to a low return rate. Because if you get the product and you don't love it, but it's going to cost you another $8 to ship it back, you're probably just going to give it another shot or give it to a friend that you think will love it. So those are my 3 keys of business I've learned. In a brand, what I've learned, you have to have a quality product. But the most important part of any business are the people. And you have to have a strong team to have a business that lasts.
I love it. The team, I definitely agree with. I think we do see luxury brands do well in this space, but I think that a lot of what you talked about clearly is something that you've learned from launching a bunch of different brands. And with Lilly being, I would imagine it's kind of far and away the most successful one out of the ones that you've launched, right?
You know, Hairdaman is probably more successful than Lilly Lashes at this point, to be honest, but they're right up there, neck and neck. I think Lilly got more successful in the sense of social success and influencer notoriety, celebrity notoriety. So it definitely is my most successful if that's how you attribute success. But if you're just talking about flat dollars, then I think Hairdaman may win or be neck and neck.
Okay, cool. I wasn't going to talk about Hairdaman too much, but why do you think Hairdaman's done so well?
Well, different reasons that Lilly Lashes has done so well. So I think Hairdaman has done well because I learned the formula, the secret to success, which is what I just told you. And by no means can luxury brands not do great socially. Absolutely, they can. I'm talking about brands that their inception is on social media.
Gotcha. Okay.
So obviously, if you're Chanel, you're going to do well on social media or whatever luxury brand it may be. You can definitely benefit from social marketing and influencer marketing. But to start a brand from zero on social media and be successful, that's my formula. So Hairdaman, I think, A, it's a great product. It actually works. I mean, I have so much hair now, it's crazy. But B, we follow the same influencer marketing strategy that I learned at Lilly Lashes. And I do believe that is our secret to success.
So how would you describe that approach? And well, one, how would you describe that approach? And two, how have you seen it change over the years? Because you were one of the earliest people in this space. I'd love to hear from your perspective how you've seen it kind of evolve.
Sure. So with Lilly Lashes, I'm not going to say by luck because we created a really disruptive product. We created 3D lashes that had never been seen before. And it was something every glam girl needed. She just didn't realize she needed it until it existed. And so it was so disruptive. But what I learned is whenever someone popular on Instagram would post us, like whether it's James Charles or whoever it was, we would see a huge influx of sales. Or if Kylie Jenner wore us, or, you know, whether it was a social celebrity or a real celebrity. And that was my aha moment. We weren't paying these people. Like they would buy on the website. We would get orders on the website. We still do from super famous, influential people. But what I saw is the moment they used our lash in their Instagram video or their YouTube video, we sold hundreds of that style that day when maybe we would only sell 10 or 20. And so I was like, rather than, you know, television commercials, magazine commercials, why don't we use these popular people on social media? And they weren't even called influencers then. Why don't we give them free product? In the beginning, it was just giving them free product and having them post, let's see what that does. And it was amazing. One after another, we would sell a tremendous amount of product. And you'd also gain visibility. So with each post, we would gain a couple hundred followers. Even if those followers didn't buy that day, they were clearly interested in the brand. And one day we could convert them. So that's a model I learned, I think, before most other brands. And it was purely by accident. It's not like I had this genius idea one day. It was happening organically. And I realized we needed more of that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then I think recently the brand, the team, the org is really investing pretty aggressively over the last like 6 to 12 months in the space as well. So we're seeing on our end, you know, you guys are up 70% year over year in the last kind of few months. I know it's like gifting, events, et cetera. What have you seen the team doing that you think is leading to this acceleration recently?
First of all, they're doing amazing, like you said, and I'm going to give them 100% of credit because I stepped down as the CEO of the brand. It will be 4 years this month. I used to do everything. I was that CEO that like wanted to touch everything and and I've learned in this process the past 4 years that a strong team can really do way better than you can. There's been a shift. It used to be you could get someone to post your product on social media and they would sell. Well, the customers, all of the followers, we've figured that out. Most people ignore a post. They don't take it as genuine. They take it as this influencer is being paid for this. And maybe they don't actually love this product. Maybe they don't actually use this product. So I think the shift has changed to smaller influencers being able to sell more, whether you want to call them micro influencers, because their content is more genuine. It's not a bunch of perfect things you're looking at, and their recommendations are more genuine. And the second shift is you need your influencers to be a part of your community now. You need to do events. You need to have activations. You need to launch special branded products. And so that's really what the team has shifted to doing. And at Lilly Lashes, they do so many fun events, activations, different ways to get the influencer community involved. And that makes other influencers want to be a part of the Lilly Lashes community. So I think that's the shift they've done that has really helped the increase in their EMV.
Yeah, I think the investing in building real relationships between your team or you and that community is something that people tend to underinvest in. They assume you just send out products and you pay people. And it's like, no, you have to like really forge those relationships one at a time, like over years to see what you guys have accomplished.
Absolutely. And the second reason for that is there's so much competition now. There's so much saturation. Like when Lilly Lashes was first launched, gifting to an influencer was enough because they so badly wanted the free product. But now there's 30 brands, 50 brands in every category that are gifting product. And so the influencers want to work with brands that they feel a part of. And they're getting 100 PR packages a day. That doesn't work anymore.
Let's talk about you. Actually, I think that brings us to an interesting turn, which is like the other area where you've had a lot of success is as a creator yourself. So you're also probably getting 100 PR packages a week from different brands. I'm curious, you're up to a few million fans on Instagram. What has that journey been like? When did it start? What do you think has led to you being so successful there? Obviously, you had some time on TV with the Shaws. But outside of that, it seems like it's just been a lot of work over a very long period of time.
It's hard being a content creator. And I know you're a content creator yourself. So we'll get into that next. But to be honest, I'm retired now. So I'm on Instagram for fun now. Maybe I'll post once a month. Maybe I'll post twice a month. Maybe I'll have a month where I want to post 6 times. But I'm not a content creator anymore. I would say I'm a content viewer now, which is, I'm in a different phase of my life. I'm a wife, I'm a mom. But when I was a content creator at the start of Instagram, I remember that there was a popular page. Everyone had the same popular page in the whole world. And every post I did would be on the popular page within 30 seconds. And it was so crazy that I would grow more than 1,000 followers a day organically, day after day after day. And I'll tell you what I think my secret was. I was unapologetically me 11, 12 years ago when it was taboo to be unapologetically you. And the unapologetically me was into glam. I was into hair. I was into makeup. I wanted a hair and makeup artist. I wanted to do this every day. I wanted to have photo shoots in my living room. And I thought this was a grand old time. I was 26, 27 years old, and it was all fun and games. And it was a time where it was shocking. So most people made fun of me, to be honest. And it was like every comment used to be, what are these photo shoots for? Because we were having fun. And I think that's what led to my success. I ignored the noise. I ignored people telling me how embarrassing this is. I remember even my boyfriend at the time was like, what are you doing? My parents, like everyone was mortified and humiliated with me, but I was having fun. And for me, it was expression and it was who I was. And it was so nice to just be me and not be sorry about it. And I think that resonated with so many people across the world. Like, I wish I could be unapologetically me, whatever that was. I wish I could post my love for food or whatever it was. Cause at this time, Instagram was very new and it was more like share a professional photo of yourself. It wasn't what it is today. And I think that's why I had so much success. I pumped out content every day. I was posting every day at a time where some people only had one or two posts on their whole feed. I think to be a good creator, you have to have your niche. Like for me, it was glam. And you have to create interesting things consistently that people want to see. They want to watch, they want to follow, they know what to expect from you, they're excited, and it's hard. It's a full-time job.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's a lot of effort. And I think to do it daily is tough. And I think I remember going back to this kind of idea of it being embarrassing. I remember very early on, my wife had a friend who was like a school teacher. And she started doing it, right? Started creating content. It was just a normal person, right? And at the beginning, people would always whisper, be like, oh, it's so weird that Tori's doing that. Or, you'd hear these like
Whispers.
yeah. And then eventually, though, now she's got whatever, a couple 100,000 fans. And people are like, oh, shit, I can't believe she's gotten there. And I know for me, like, I created a company in this space. I've been in this space for a decade. And starting in February, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this myself. And like doing it was terrifying. Even though I've been in that industry for so long, putting yourself out there and like you said, sharing stuff that like most other people aren't doing.
It's hard.
Yeah. And it's embarrassing too when it's really small. You're like, my audience is small. Nobody gives a shit. Like I'm getting 8 likes a post. Like it doesn't. And so getting through that first phase is tough. It's super challenging.
But the ones that become successful are the ones that don't give up, right? It's so easy to be like, this is hard. I don't want to do this anymore. And it's harder today than ever. When I became super popular, it was so much easier because there wasn't a lot of content out there. So whatever I created was new and engaging and exciting. Now it's like there's so many people putting out so much amazing content. You feel this pressure. Like, well, what can I do next? What can I do different? And then Instagram's algorithm, you spend so much time, effort, energy on creating and no one sees it. Even your own followers, like 10% see it. So it's harder than ever and it's really discouraging, but it's not impossible. And there are new people that go viral every day. There are new influencers that are up and coming and growing every day. So you can do it. It's a full-time job.
Totally. One of the other things you mentioned, I think that is fascinating, and I think frankly is something that I admire from your content, from you personally, is this idea of being open and this idea of sharing things that aren't always good. Like I know that you went through some personal health challenges recently that you were really open about, et cetera. And so I'm curious, when you think about that space and when you think about your openness, is that something that was inherently scary for you or was that easy for you to overcome? Has there ever been challenges like you've been too open and had it backfire on you?
Absolutely. I think that in the beginning, I was too scared to be super open. And I always wanted to have this perception on Instagram of perfection. I remember I used to not post without makeup because that was so a big part of who I am. Now it's like rare I post with makeup on my stories. But little by little, I learned that the more authentic I was, the more vulnerable I was, the more real I was, because no one's life is as perfect as their feed. No one. The more my followers resonated with me, the more they connected with me. And there's 2 types of influencers in my business's world. Unicorns are the people that we call that are actually influential. So just because you have 3 million followers, 10 million followers, doesn't mean you're influential. If you post for a brand, you may sell 0. We've had people with 12 million followers sell 0. Even though their followers are real, they're not influential. And what I've learned is that vulnerability, that human aspect to an influencer is what makes them influential. People relate to them. People connect with them. I meet people on the streets all the time that are like, I named my daughter Alara and I went and got a boob job from Dr. J. I flew from across the United States. That's real influence. And I feel like the reason they're so connected is they see me at my lowest. They see me through marital problems. They see me through health problems. And they see me through a nose job, where other people might not want to talk about that or may even deny having done it. I just make it a part of my DNA. I've always been unapologetically me. And I feel like that has helped me in my social life. But more importantly, I think it sends a positive message to young people. I don't ever want someone to look at my feed and be like, wow, I don't look like this. I don't have this perfect marriage. No one does. No one. And so I try to show that, to try to be a good role model.
Yeah, I think that's one, I think it's the right thing to do. And two, I think in terms of, to your point about being inspiring to others or being something that other people can model after, I think it's important, right? I think that people are afraid to show everything that isn't perfect. I love that. So another area that I really struggle with personally is focus, because there's always so many different things that you can work on, right? There's, the family and there's a company and there's content creation, is this, that, and the other thing. I know that you mentioned now you've kind of dialed that back and you've retired. I'm curious, one, how you thought about focus during this rise up, right? So when you were really on investing heavily, both in your career, in the company, in content creation, how did you think about focus during that time? Like, how did you find time? And then how do you think about that today? What do you focus on in your personal life day to day now that you have retired?
That is such a great question from like an entrepreneurial aspect, because I'm a firm believer in your business, you get out what you put in. And my businesses used to be 100% of my focus. I would miss out on birthday parties. I would miss out on trips. I have this amazing idea for like a new product launch or whatever it is. My focus was 110% on my brands and creating content. And that's why I was successful. If you dedicate yourself to anything, you're going to be successful. But I woke up, I was 32 years old. I was single. I was very successful, but I didn't have success in other aspects of my life. I always thought by 32, I would be married with 3 kids. And I realized that if I don't start to shift some of my focus on making that a priority in my life, I'll never have those dreams. And so that's what I did. I decided to take a back seat and focus on dating and finding love and personal balance. Then once I got married, it went even further, right? Because your husband needs attention. Your marriage needs attention. And you only have so much of you every day. You have to decide where it goes. And I don't think there's a perfect formula. I think for each person, they have to find what works for them and their life and their family. And I think it changes. So once my daughter was born, I was like, wow, I love being a mom. I don't want to leave every day. I used to go to the office from 7 until 7. It made me happy. It's what I did. That's her entire awake time. I would not see my daughter if I maintained that life. I would not see her for 1 minute. She would wake up at 7 and she would go to bed at 7. So I decided to shift my focus. And that's what worked for me at that time. I realized it meant my business would probably not be as successful. I realized it would allow other brands to come in and take over in ways where my eye is off the ball. That was okay because that's where I found success in my life. And now that my son is born, to be honest, I go to the office zero because this role as a mother, this role as a wife, I define success now. And I'm still there for my brands, but my brands are not 100%. I wouldn't even say they're like 50% of my focus anymore. And maybe that will change. And once my kids aren't babies anymore, I'll want to go back to the office 7 to 7. But I think you have to decide what's a priority in your life, and you have to allocate your time and your focus, because what you're giving the majority of your focus to is what's going to nurture and be successful.
Yeah, I think it's really powerful what you just talked about. The way that I heard described best. So there was this female dean. She's the dean of this university. And she said one of the things, and it was written towards women, but it actually connected with me quite a bit. But she's like, the problem for most women is you're expected to be the perfect mom and the career woman and in great shape and all these different things. So you have all these expectations. The reality is, if you want to be the partner at the law firm, like you don't get to go to every practice during the week and get to hang out on the weekends. And you don't get to also go to the PTA meetings and all these kinds of things. And so the thing that she advised, she said there's like 4 buckets, which is like there's family, friends, health, and then work. Those are the 4 buckets, she said. You want to be really good? She's like, you only get to pick 2. And she's like, and maybe you can stretch to 3, but that's kind of it, right? And the thing that's most important is being intentional about making that choice and then feeling very comfortable about what you're giving up. For me, when we started the company, the thing that I really focused on was work and family. That was it. And so what did I sacrifice? I sacrificed my friends and I sacrificed my health to a certain extent. Like I wasn't taking as good care of my health. And so I think that, again, knowing that you can't actually do everything and then being really intentional with how you're going to spend your time and then being comfortable with what you're giving up is both exactly what you described and something that I think is incredibly important from like a mental health perspective. Because, you know, you go online and you see people doing better in any particular, there's going to be somebody that's in better shape. There's going to be somebody that has a better career. There's going to be somebody that has a better family. Like being comfortable with that, I think is critically important.
Absolutely. I always tell women, particularly women or just who ask me, you have to decide what is important for you to show up and what's okay for you to delegate. And who cares about anyone else's opinion about that? I don't think it's important that I take my daughter to dance class every day. That's 2 hours of my day from driving her, sitting there for an hour during the class, 30 minutes driving her back. So that 2 hours, I feel, isn't significant enough in my daughter's life or my enjoyment for me to do that. So I delegate that. And things that I feel like are important, like being at her soccer game, that's important to me. I want her to hear me cheering and I want to be there. So I think you have to find that balance of, like you said, what you can delegate and not think twice about it, and what is important for you to show up for. But I will say that it's contagious around you. So I used to work all the time, and my husband is even more of a workaholic than me. He takes it to a whole other level. To give you an example, he built a shower in his office and a pull-out couch because he would sleep there for days on end. He would work till 3, 4 in the morning, sleep there, shower in the morning, and start over. Obviously, when he met me, he scaled that back, but he was still doing that 7 to 7 and missing our kids' entire day. There were 2, 3 days that would go by that my daughter would ask me if daddy's out of town. She wouldn't see him. And he saw me give it up, and he saw me sending him videos and photos every day like, oh my God, look, she took her first this, or he did his first that. And he decided to give it up himself. And he sold his company. It will now be 3 years. He's home, and he told me yesterday, I can't imagine having missed all these moments. He's been retired for like 6 months now. He's like, I just can't imagine how I thought all my focus being there was more important. And he still works now, don't get me wrong, but he's there every morning to have breakfast with them. Then he goes off to work and he's back for dinner time. And so your focus can change as you grow in life.
I think about this a lot. So when my daughter was born, so we had our son first, and then maybe a year and a half later, we had our daughter. And that was in March 2020 that we had her, right before the pandemic, right? So the pandemic happens, everything goes remote, right? We're a software company. I don't go into the office ever, like unless it's like everybody's getting together. Even that change. Now, instead of leaving at 7, I start work at 8. And instead of getting back at 6:30, I get back at 5 or 5:30. And so I go from spending like an hour a day with my kids to like 3 or 4 hours a day with my kids. And it's like that change, even just eliminating the commute and eliminating the need to go into the office. I can't imagine how different my relationship would be with my kids.
Like 1 hour to 3 hours is a huge shift, and any old person I talk to, any old person, they will tell you their one regret in life, if they had children, was not spending more time with them and just focusing on work, work, work. And I understand that some people, they don't have a choice. My parents didn't have a choice. I never saw my parents. They both worked multiple jobs. They were in the working class. They were just trying to put food on the table. And so for families that need to survive, like my family, I get it. You don't have the privilege of seeing your kids and spending time. But when you are an entrepreneur and you choose to put your focus in your business to have more success, more offices, new brands, whatever it is, that's a choice. I choose to shift some of this focus.
Yeah, 100%. So the entrepreneur in you, I think, is still there. I don't think it's died yet. So if you had to start a new business, is there any idea that you're like, if I did have to shift focus away from family, I would love to do this? What would that be?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm not done. I'm coming back. And there is a part of me that I do get sad sometimes. I do miss the hustle. I do miss, the thrill and the grind and the success. And so I've given this a lot of thought lately. And my daughter is a freaking firecracker. She will watch me get ready. Like I got ready for an 80s party the other night and she looked at me when we were done. She goes, "Not fair. I want to be you." She's 5 years old. I was like, "Sit down." My hairstylist crimped her hair. We put the same 80s makeup on her just for her to take a bath and go to bed. But I see in her who I was as a little girl. Only my parents didn't have the opportunities I have. My parents were like, "Good luck, do something better than we did so that you don't have to live like us." So I would love to start a brand with my daughter. I would love to see what she's passionate about. And I would love to help cultivate that and to launch a business for her and to teach her, not by teaching her with papers in a book, but teach her in real life through her own brand how to launch a business. And I'm not that mom that's going to like push it on her. And I know it's soon because she comes with me to work. She watches me do everything and she keeps telling me, "Not fair, not fair." So the moment she gets old enough to be like, "I want to launch a business," I'm ready.
So I have the best story on that. So there's this guy named Craig Fuller. He runs a business you've never heard of. It's called Freight Waves. They've done very well. They're growing like crazy. Anyways, he's big into entrepreneurship. His family was a long-term family business in like the trucking industry and whatever. And so his son was starting to get really passionate about this stuff. And his son's also really into planes, particularly like private flying, that kind of stuff, like small planes. And so they went to this place called acquired.com or acquire.com, where literally people just sell businesses, found this business where they were putting airplane maps on cups and this. So you could buy like a local map of your area from the view of a plane, bought the business for like hardly any money. And then they worked on it together and they like built this business up together. Now it's crushing it, doing super well. So I love that idea.
That's amazing. And that's my dream. It's like, I figured out the formula. Could I launch another brand? Yes. Would it be as successful as Lilly Lashes? Maybe, maybe not. I have other brands that I run now that aren't as successful. But to be able to do that with my daughter, to be able to teach her and have her experience a little bit of what I experienced that would be a dream. And that I would be very passionate about.
Well, Lilly, I really appreciate you taking out the time. I'm so impressed with both what you've done and with you as a person. I think it's just really cool to watch from the outside, and excited for when you launch that business with your daughter.
Well, thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure.
Be a friend, tell a friend, and subscribe. Earned by CreatorIQ. CreatorIQ is your all-in-one solution to grow, manage, scale, and measure your influencer marketing program. Ready to unlock the power of the creator economy? Get started with a demo today at CreatorIQ.com.